What's up, everybody? My name is Nick Lawrence. Welcome back to my channel. As always, this channel is dedicated to all things endurance sport and Ironman triathlon. As you know, I'm myself pursuing a sub 12-hour Ironman goal this next July, so July 2025, which I am very excited for. The past 2 months of training has been great, mostly a run focus, but as some of you may know, 4 days ago now, I had a minor surgery on my back, so I will be recovering for approximately 2 weeks from the surgery date. So not this Friday, next Friday I can get back on the horse. In the meantime, I have been doing what I can to upgrade the systems that I have around content creation, around my personal brand, around how I do my sport, while also figuring out how to capture myself doing my sport and trying to extract any lessons that I can to teach those who may not be where I am yet, but have a desire to do either their first or their second, or even, it doesn't matter how many Ironman you've sought to do or you've accomplished, there's always more to learn. So this channel is really for anyone looking to improve and continue to grow in the Ironman triathlon. With the surgery, I've had a lot more time to reflect on these systems that I've been implementing over the past 4 or 5 years, because that's basically when I started my Ironman journey. And I wanted to bring to attention really how valuable this past year of training has been for me. Like, the amount that I've learned and the amount of knowledge that I've gained over this past year is probably 4 to 5 times what I learned in the previous 4 or 5 years. We're at whenever 2019 is. I guess that's 5 years at this point, which time really does fly, especially when you're filling most of your time with training and like rides on the bike and runs outside. The days really start to like speed by. But in thinking about why this year had so much more value in it, training-wise, compared to other years, I can't help but to think that a primary benefit, or that primary benefit, has come directly from swallowing my ego and allowing myself to be coached by more experienced athletes than I am. And these athletes are out there, the people who've done many Ironman and have been in the game for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and just have a wealth of knowledge that they wouldn't even be able to write down or convey to you in a strategic way, because that's their skill alone. Like, their skill is the sport and not the teaching of the sport necessarily, or not even the writing down or memorializing of the lessons that they've learned in the sport. And it took me a little bit of time to make that distinction, that sometimes, like, yes, the best athletes aren't always the best coaches, but oftentimes if you spend enough time talking to or interacting with someone with genuine wealth of experience, that experience tends to come out subtly and more naturally than just being explicitly taught the material. So like, everybody's had this teacher in school who maybe they have like a perfect syllabus and a perfect lesson plan for like the next 10 weeks, however long a semester is in school, I forget. And like, they're just dumping information on you, but for some reason there's something about working with this teacher that you just can't seem to get a hold of the information. And then you have those teachers who seem to be enjoying the fact that they just have the opportunity to teach, and they make the class seem fun. It doesn't quite feel like you're actually learning anything, or you're really not trying too hard to learn the information, and it doesn't feel like you maybe have that many takeaways from the class. But then by the end of the semester, if you hold student A from class A and student B from class B, hold their test scores across a standardized testing, oftentimes, in my experience, the more natural teacher will yield better results on test day. And I think it has to do with the way we process information in lessons. Oftentimes those classes with the fun teacher are more interactive and more focused on doing, while the other teacher might be focused on rote learning and just strict reading the book and getting the material in. And that may have been the biggest difference, that along with swallowing my ego, in those first 4 or so years, I was approaching my training from a self-learned approach, where I would just read everything that I can read online, and I would watch all the videos I could watch, and basically become an information sponge. And I was learning all this stuff, and I put it in quotes, but I probably was learning a lot. But then making the choice to take a more action-based approach and, sign on with my coaches. There's 2 of them, they're brothers, and it's kind of it's good. I get a diverse experience. One of them's a PT, and one of them is just a beast of an athlete. So they're probably both beasts of athletes. They're both sub-9 marathon Ironmanners, so can't really take anything away from them. Actually, that's an insane time. But then, allowing myself to swallow my ego and just commit to their process, so that I can suspend my own thoughts and disbelief and everything. And when I signed on with them, I basically deleted what I had in my mind or what I thought I knew, and tried to approach it as a beginner again. And the time that I worked with them, my training was so much more efficient. It was definitely harder than I was doing on my own, but it was more systematized, and in a way that reduced my likelihood of getting injured. And not even the likelihood, it reduced me getting injured to none. When I was training on my own, almost every 3rd week or every month, I would have just something that was bothering me, something that hurt, and occasional partial ruptures, and my calves, and everything was I was breaking down. And working with these guys, I was doing more volume more consistently and coming out less injured. Part of that's experience, but then part of it is also just trusting them, allowing myself to be more relaxed about my approach, and also the proper scaling of volume, having people build a plan to my level. And that's what I'm equating the difference between just reading and studying and everything, and being in that teacher A class where it's all about getting as much information and exposure to the material and do it on your own, versus having these guys who basically, they set the workout in front of you, ask you how you felt, you have a question, they answer it, and then on to the next workout, and then bump. After 8 months of that, Like, my knowledge went from, yeah, I knew a fair bit of theory, but my practical knowledge went from, like, I'll give myself a little credit, 10% to probably closer to like 75%, 80%, where like that next 100%, like, you could also technically be there. That's just my own mental hang up, thinking that there's something that those higher level or pro guys are doing that I'm not doing. But in reality, that's almost definitely not the case. I mean, there's probably some tricks of the trade that they're doing, but the real trick that I learned working with them is it is as simple as it is, and the bottom line is, time in the game. Are you hitting your workouts? Are you drinking enough water? Are you eating enough food? Are you sleeping enough? And that's really it. There's nothing more than that, and you're gonna learn more about yourself and gain more experience by doing, as opposed to just reading and obsessing about and worrying yourself about. Because I'll be honest, like, spending 4 hours worrying yourself about your next workout isn't going to make you do your workout better. Spending months worrying about your race day isn't going to make you race better. The only way to maximize your workout is by putting in the effort at the workout and making sure that you're obviously going to bed at the right times, eating at the right times, waking up at the right times, stretching at the right times, stretching enough, doing your recovery practices, doing them again at the right times. And oftentimes the right times are when you actually have time to do it. So stretching, recovering, foam rolling, eating, sleeping, drinking, like, just living your life, and then reducing as much as possible the mental anguish that the training is imparting on you. So that'll be my last little bit for today. Oftentimes, like, the highest point of suffering occurs at the lowest point of action. So the more suffering that you're going to be experiencing is happening as you're stagnant, as you're just sitting there thinking about the thing rather than doing the thing. So this is like a hint and a gold nugget for your long effort days, including your bike day, including your brick day, including your run day, usually on the weekend, where you're going to be doing a very high volume, high amount of time in these disciplines. The biggest takeaway is there's no time spent staring at your bike shoes or your running shoes that's going to help you get that run or bike done faster. So same thing with better. You're not going to do it better, you're not going to do it faster the more you think about it. And the more you think about it, the more time you're wasting, the more you're eating out of your day, and the more you're sabotaging your own training and making it so that it'll be harder to hit those sessions. So this video is a bit of a mixed bag. Hope you enjoyed, just little bits and nuggets here and there. And yeah, hopefully you're appreciating the new lighting too, because I invested in this new light box. I have a new tripod for my camera, so the camera angle should be a little bit better. I don't think you've ever seen this angle either, because usually I shoot from on my desk. Now I actually have this tripod that could sit on the floor, and I could kind of take you around with me and shoot higher quality videos like this. So little improvements here and there. And here's my Lake Placid hat, which I like to look at once in a while because it is very, very nice. Very artistic, as you can see here. And I hold the opinion that you can't buy one of these until you do the race. So on that note, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you tomorrow.